Hi everyone, welcome to You Can Do Medicine. My name's Tom, and today we're going to talk about the first semester doing medicine at Edinburgh University. Um, this is a video that I wanted to get out early, something that I wanted to get out quickly because I wanted it to be fresh in my mind. And with such an intense course, there's so much going on, it could be very easy for me to sort of forget my first impressions and forget, important parts about it. So going back to um, starting the semester then, back, was it the end of August, end of September, when we had our induction week. To be honest, not much was going on. It was a case of meeting in the Monday morning and had a few important people. I can't even remember who was there, but we got an hour kind of talk about what to expect from the course, and then we're essentially left to crack on and go to all the society fairs and whatnot, and all the uh, shenanigans that happens in Freshers Week, of course. Um, with my age, I didn't really get involved in that kind of thing, but I know that a lot of the guys had a lot of fun. There was certainly no end of events going on, and I think it took a few people a few weeks to recover from that. But going into the first week, then I would say that this is one of the things about doing medicine that stands out to other courses is that on day one we're straight in there. Maybe I think we had a 1 hour kind of induction, but it wasn't even really an induction. It did kind of turn into a lecture, and then we're straight into pre-practical anatomy classes, followed up with some body and motion classes that you were thrown right in at the deep end. You had to be taking notes and right on it from day one. Um, the pace was manageable, and we still, we weren't overloaded with things. But one of the things that really stood out from then was it's a completely different way of learning for me. Um, all of your out of class work is done before classes. Other than projects or essays you might have to do, the vast majority of things have to be done before class. And thankfully, that was outlaid to us in the first week so that we could get on board with that. Um, the first 3 weeks, I felt as though they were just sort of gently increasing the workload. You could quite quickly see that for medical ethics classes, for example, you'd be given, say, 5 hours worth of work to do before the class. So it would be numerous YouTube videos or the other internally recorded lectures that would just be maybe 15 minutes, and then some additional reading on top of that. And, with a lot of these things, I found myself that you could put them on while you're doing the washing up or while you're doing cooking, but you have to be paying attention to them because it was important stuff. Um, Particularly with the likes of the body in motion, which is, I suppose, about illnesses in whole and more pathology and that kind of thing. Um, but probably the most interesting thing definitely was going into our anatomy lab for the first time. I I have had this in the family with my grandparents and whatnot, but I've certainly never seen a cadaver before. And right from week one, you're right in there, and showing cadaver and different specimens from uh, of various parts of the body. Um, and what I would say is that it wasn't, it didn't shock me, it didn't frighten me, I wasn't startled by it at all. And I think across the board that was the case because they're treated in such a way that um, there's a separation there. and it makes it like manageable and easy to work with. Um, the other aspects of the anatomy lab that I personally really appreciate is the professional aspect of it. Obviously, we're not allowed to take notes, we're not allowed to take cameras, and if you turn up to an anatomy lab with a camera in your pocket, you'll be asked to leave and not allowed back in. But the also the dress code, for example, we're told that if we're coming to an anatomy lab, we need to be wearing what we would be expected to wear if we were going to work in a GP surgery for some shadowing, for example. And I think that helps set a tone, and it helps get people involved um, from an early stage. And certainly for I feel that for the younger people, and there are 308 people in the class, and there's probably only 40 of us that are over 20. um, that will have likely been quite a big change from school. But for me, I like that because it just makes things nice and easy and manageable. Everyone knows what's expected of them, and um, it sets us up for what's to come. Um, that also leads me on to another part of the course, which you begin to see that, yeah, you're studying medicine, but they could easily just change the name of the course to doctor training, as everything you do on the course is related back to being a doctor. So when you're in uh, a body emotion lecture where you're maybe discussing bone disease, it, you'll be seeing x-rays, whatnot, and every single stage will be, you will need to know this when you're practicing, you will need to know this when you're in the hospital, because, and for me, that's super important. It makes things relatable and helps to really see what the purpose of learning it in the first place is. Um, I'm quite a practical person, maybe not the most academic of people, and so I need something to show me why I'm doing it. If I get something that's purely abstract, um, one of the you know to my own detriment almost. I can't help but wonder why I'm being taught it in the first place. But the course as a whole is great for that, and that it will always relate back to and say, this is why you need to know it. Yeah, went in a bit of a segue there. I'm going to cut back to the course. So I mentioned that the first 3 weeks you could feel that it was stepping up. And when we got to the fourth week, it really ramped up the workload. The amount of work we were having to do before class certainly got more intense. The content was more complex and more difficult ideas. I remember we got an anatomy lecture which had 87 slides in it, which we'd to learn in 50 minutes. And trying to get through that lecture was just, oh, I don't think, it was basically every muscle, blood supply, nerve, everything in the upper and lower limbs in 50 minutes. Anyway, but it was intense, and but that's something you need to get used to. It's something that I think that maybe with being a bit older, I can, rather than complain, can be like, well, you've just got to get on with it and get it done. And I feel as though at that time people realized, okay, I need to have a strategy for how to study here, and I need to know, learn how to organize my notes and these kind of things. And that's maybe something that I'll touch on in a different video. Um, but on top of just the general lecturing, classes, tutorials, There's also some projects came up. So we had a really good project where we'd interview a patient that had a chronic illness. So me and my partner that were paired up to do that. Um, a lovely girl, fantastic, really supportive, and we were completely on the same level. It made it really easy. Um, I had a fantastic time going out to the patient's house and interviewed them. It was only meant to last 50 minutes, and I think we were there for 2.5 hours. Um, and it was such an interesting thing to do, to properly interview a patient, get their side of the story, see their perspective, learn what their priorities were and what they found important, which is often very different to what you're taught in a lecture. So seeing that different perspective again, and it brings it back to that everything that you do is about learning to be a doctor. Everything is about this is why you need to do this. And I found that really, really helpful. And certainly one of the highlights of the course. Writing the 3,000 word report afterwards was a bit more difficult. Um, but yeah, that was the main bit of coursework that aside, and there was it was a 10.5 week semester for us before we cut off and went and did our exam just a few days ago. And I think we all needed a break. Certainly the most intense learning experience I've ever had. And I really needed just like some time to exhale and calm down. And yeah, but it's been fantastic. And yeah, I just wanted to get it all in a video now. And there's some bits there that I've touched on that I'm going to come in and expand upon in separate videos because there's a lot there to talk about. But anyway, I'll see you soon.